Right, here we go. Hello once again.
Hello, my name is Jay,
My name is Charlotte.
and today we're discussing LLMs in language learning. So LLM stands for Large Language Models.
Yeah, as we confirmed today.
Yeah, large language models. There are plenty of them out there. One of them is DeepSeek version 3, and we'll try and create a list of ideas that you should bear in mind while trying to teach yourself some English using LLMs and the internet. So, what would you start with? What should a language learner start with if they are a non-native speaker?
I don't use LLMs. I use them sometimes to generate tasks or questions just for ideas, and then I adapt them myself. But I don't use them to learn. For example, I speak Russian. I've never used it for Russian at all, ever, actually. So I think maybe you should kick off this one.
I will try to use it, for example, DeepSeek for learning Russian, just to check its level of Russian, and then if it's really impressive, I will let you know.
Yeah, because I've never used it for language learning, actually. Obviously, it wasn't around when I was at university.
But yeah, I mean, even by using it for other tasks, you can use them simultaneously for language learning, because while reading different articles, you pick up some words and phrases, and then you can ask LLMs to explain them in detail and to give a grammatical or some other explanation, or to make some change, or to ask to make some changes, like to change American words into British English words and to explain the difference.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we talked about this in the audio version, but the problem is knowing if it's accurate or not.
Yeah.
Why don't I try now to see?
Yeah, let's try.
Hold on, let me take it off here because I don't really use. I couldn't figure out that voice thing. We did do it in the end. Let's say.
Let's text them.
Give me some British slang and their American equivalents.
Yeah.
Let's say, because this is the first time I've used it for something like this, actually. Cheers. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, mate, buddy. So it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Mad crazy, yeah. Chuffed.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, stuff
Why
you
not?
find
Yeah.
everywhere
So
on
you
Google.
don't have to spend time looking for articles on.
We don't. I mean, like, I think it's the same thing that I just comes up here every day. British slang, literal same thing comes up on Google.
But you can be more specific. You can ask, for example, to give you some some explanations, some grammatical explanations, and it's really interesting. Let me give you one example. Maybe it will impress you and you will change your attitude. Or I use my knowledge of biblical Hebrew and Mishnaic Hebrew for my reconstructions of Yeshua's words. So, and then I asked DeepSeek version 3 whether it could actually correct my reconstruction in Proto-Mishnaic Hebrew. And I was very specific. I asked not to use some later texts. I asked to use only the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Bible, the Hebrew Bible. And then I also uploaded my reconstruction. And I asked just to edit it and to make improvements and to explain some changes if needed, giving some grammatical explanations. And I was shocked because actually it was able to cope, to suggest some corrections. And while I disagreed with many of them, I still made some changes based on DeepSeek, because after checking and proofreading the answer, I realized that some of them made perfect sense.
Yeah, I didn't disagree with you. I think they're bad or anything. This is kind of like a point I was trying to make, I suppose, in the audio portion, in that if you're using an LLM for like more complex questions, very much like this, you also need to have the knowledge to verify that, as you said, that you did, well, you have and you did.
Yeah.
right? I guess, yeah, because I'm thinking specifically about, let's say, learning language, learning English. Maybe with English it's different because, well, I don't use ChatGPT at all for learning a language. I can use it sometimes to help me to come up with, like, for example, speaking questions or something. It's actually one of the very few things I use it for. So for actually learning a language, I think it is useful. Like learning language and nothing else, right? I don't mean stuff like even like, I don't know, reading or whatever. I'll get into that a bit later. But in terms of actually purely just learning language, I think it's only super reliable and useful up to a certain level. I think it's actually lower than people would estimate as well. But I mean, of course, yeah, I'm not against it. I think it has uses.
It is interesting that you chose to narrow down the topic to simply learning a language, because I think that it's even it's not a very good idea. I don't think it's a very good idea that just to learn a language, because in order to acquire something subconsciously, we should try and make use of languages while doing some other tasks. Like, well, for example, if you're writing an article in English and your native language is Russian or some other language other than English, then it makes perfect sense to ask ChatGPT or some other LLMs to help you with this topic while looking for some interesting information you're writing about. And while reading something interesting, even without paying attention to the language itself, you will subconsciously pick up some phrases. And then while checking, proofreading, using some other sources, you will eventually improve your reading comprehension skills. And if you're using some well-developed LLMs, you can also improve your listening comprehension and speaking skills. Because I remember Dima, one of my VK friends, used ChatGPT 4, I think, for speaking, and I could tell the difference, because after several days of practicing, his English has improved.
Well, I mean, like in terms of what exactly?
In terms of fluency, ease.
Like what? Like grammar?
No,
pronunciation,
not grammar.
vocab.
I mean, there are so many foreigners who stumble in English, not because they do not know English at all, not because they do not have enough knowledge of something, but simply because they are afraid to speak. Because And while practicing English, it's all about practice. That's why we say it in English. It's all about practice.
I mean, like, but the value of that in speaking to ChatGPT, kind of like we went through in the audio section where I tried, like, where I used the voice of it. It was like we asked it to speak British English.
That one was rubbish. The one I used was closer to British English. It was not exactly dialectal. It was not natural enough, because in order to pick up a good accent, you should choose a certain dialect.
But I mean, yeah, the point is
maybe
that you
even
need to...
dialect. Yeah, you need to spend a lot of time
I just think it's not 100% reliable. It's probably not the best idea. But actually, what I wanted to say was that if you're just practicing speaking, no matter who or what with, that's always good anyway. Actually, even if you're talking to yourself.
Exactly.
That's good. If the machine understands you, great. You're obviously speaking clearly as well. Actually, but I think if you're talking to let's say an LLM and it understands you, first of all, the value in that is just that you are speaking and you are understood. But I mean, like, this is kind of bare minimum, I think. Like, I mean, once like this should kind of be where we're at again, like above a certain level, right?
You want to draw parallels with, say, ChatGPT and Duolingo or
Lingua Duolingo actually had the same thing. The same thing, actually. Yeah.
Lingua
Yeah.
I think still, I beg to differ here. I think that ChatGPT in its later versions and maybe DeepSeek, they are more developed. They are more specific, and they can help you much more in your language learning process.
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely.
Then
yeah, I don't disagree
then
with that.
using
'Cause I've seen where it
Lingualeo
works,
or
yeah.
Duolingo,
Of
etc.
course, yeah. I mean, but yeah, if you're able to kind of like have a conversation with ChatGPT, as long as that's not the only thing you're doing, that's fine. I
Yeah.
mean, of course, it can do cool things, but I still, yeah, I just think that like the actual value you get from that is just you speaking and practicing, kind of like rather than the specific fact that it's an LLM, if that makes sense. Like it's the practice in itself. As long as you're still, I think, making use of speaking to humans,
Yeah,
then
so-
yeah, sure, why not?
So you should have native English teachers. You should add to your language gamification and
Yeah,
edutainment some LLMs. So I think if you find them exciting enough, then you will pick up a lot of information from them. If you hate them, of course, it's a waste of time. That's why it's better to enjoy the process and find something enjoyable. For example, you can watch some TV shows in English.
Yeah.
You can use your internet, etc. What else would you advise to our watchers and subscribers if they would like to use some special tools for language learning, apart from studying language formally?
Well, you kind of covered a lot of things there. I think people, sorry if this doesn't answer the question exactly, but I think the passive skills are very underrated in language learning. I think people don't realize how much practicing their reading and listening in any capacity, we can just call it reading and hearing, if you like. I don't think they realize how much that will help them. Even if, I don't know, you just put like your social media in English, like one of them or something like that. You know, click on more YouTube recommendations in other languages, just because we're talking about the internet as a tool, even a little bit of that. And again, same as using like these LLMs, just as part of what you're doing.
Yeah. They will not
yeah.
replace
Yeah,
an educated English teacher. But there was one more tip I remember, and I will keep repeating it, but it's so good that I will say it. So if you have several native English teachers, or simply several educated native English speakers, you can pick up some phrases from one of them and use them to see the reaction from the other, and it will show you.
Yeah.
And it will, by the way, I think it will even help you, it will teach you some intuition, because although some linguists disagree with me and they think that you can't be taught to be more intuitive in some language if it's not your mother tongue.
Yeah,
I think you still can be more intuitive in this or that language even if it's not your mother tongue.
Fully agree with you. I think we're actually on the same page with this. Just yeah, as long as you're not using something as a sole source. I know pretty much no one does that, but I'm going to draw parallels to something else. Like sometimes when you hear people in real life speaking in a lot of internet slang, just, you know, it sounds a bit odd. I mean, do what you want, but just something to bear in mind if you're going to be using.
And still, yeah, there are so many Englishes out there. When you listen to European English, you will see that they do not speak proper English. But they still communicate somehow. They still communicate their thoughts.
Oh, like we were talking about before.
Yeah, but the main thing is to make your English natural. Of course, you should surround yourself with natives.
Yeah.
And maybe add some LLMs just as part of your edutainment.
Yeah, use them, but don't rely on them. Don't stop using your brain.
Don't stop using your brain. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the final note.
Basically,
for today,
yeah, I think we've kind of.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Cheers.
There we go.